Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington, Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. This is one of those rumors that really has the potential to shake up the entire NFC East. We're talking about the Washington Commanders possibly making a major splash in the upcoming trade window, and it involves none other than Jaylon Johnson from the Chicago Bears. The buzz is that the Bears, who are sitting at 4-6 and are in a bit of a rebuild mode, are looking to move Johnson, and the Commanders are right there, eyeing him as a prime target. According to the latest whispers in NFL circles, Chicago is willing to part ways with Johnson in exchange for a second-round pick in 2026 and a fifth-round pick in 2027. That's a pretty significant offer, and it shows just how much the Bears value Johnson's talent, especially as they focus on freeing up cap space, around $16 million, to extend other key players like Williams, their wide receiver. But why would the Commanders be so interested? Well, it's all about bolstering that secondary, which has been a bit of a sore spot this season. With Emmanuel Forbes still developing and Kendall Fuller not quite at his best, the Commanders desperately need a shutdown corner to lock down the top receivers in the division. And Jaylon Johnson, with his skill set, could be that guy. We're talking about a cornerback who, if inserted into Washington's defense, could be a real game-changer. His profile is impressive. He's only 25 years old in his third season and has already made a name for himself as a top-tier cover man. In 2024, he's played just one game so far but has already racked up 2 tackles and forced 2 completions on his coverage, with no sacks or assists. His career stats include 15 interceptions and 250 tackles, and he's been selected to 4 Pro Bowls, which is no small feat. His PFF grade of 92 reflects his consistent high-level play. One of Johnson's biggest strengths is his ability to neutralize top receivers, similar to what Sauce Gardner has been doing with the Jets. His coverage skills are elite, and he's particularly effective against the pass, allowing only a 50% completion rate when targeted and boasting an EPA per target of -0.35. That means when Johnson is on the field, quarterbacks tend to avoid throwing his way, knowing they're taking a risk. His man coverage grade is an impressive 85%, and he's especially adept at limiting big plays, which is critical when facing division rivals like the Eagles or Cowboys. However, it's not all smooth sailing. Johnson has dealt with injuries, most notably in 2025, when he missed 8 games due to a knee injury. That's a concern, especially as injuries can sometimes impact a player's consistency. His man coverage in 2025 was at 85%, which is solid, but he's still working to stay healthy and fully regain his top form. Chicago's decision to move him might be driven by their need to free up cap space for extensions and their focus on building a more offensive-oriented team, especially at wide receiver, where they're investing heavily. Now, let's talk about how Johnson could impact Washington. If he joins the Commanders, he's expected to bring a +4 interception boost, which could be transformative for the secondary. His presence would likely cut opposing quarterback YDS pass from around 7-8 yards to just about 5 yards. That's a significant reduction, and it would make it much tougher for divisional rivals to move the chains through the air. His addition could also increase the defense's pass deflection rate by 16%, pushing it from 10% to 26%, and give the pass rush more time to get to the quarterback, raising pressure from 30% to 45%. This kind of disruption is exactly what Washington needs to turn their defense into a real nightmare for opponents. And speaking of big plays, Johnson's presence could help cut down big yardage plays, reducing explosive pass plays from 18 per game to about 10. That's a huge difference. It's not just about limiting yards, it's about forcing teams into longer drives, increasing chances for turnovers. His knack for intercepting passes could elevate turnovers from an average of 1-1 per game to around 2-0, which would be a massive boost for Washington's overall defensive efficiency. Plus, with Johnson's ability to shut down top receivers, the secondary would become a fortress, especially against division rivals who depend heavily on their passing game. If we look at the bigger picture, adding Johnson isn't just about the now. It's about setting up Washington for sustained success. His presence would make the secondary a true strength, turning it into a real weapon rather than a liability. This kind of upgrade could be the difference between a playoff appearance and missing out, especially considering how tight the NFC is this year. Moreover, Johnson's impact could ripple through the entire defense, allowing the front seven to pin their ears back and generate more pressure. His ability to cover top receivers also means teams will have fewer easy completions, forcing them into more difficult throws and mistakes. From a strategic standpoint, this move would also send a message to the division. The Commanders aren't just competing, they're serious about taking over the NFC East. With Dallas and Philadelphia still strong contenders, Washington making a bold move to acquire a player like Johnson would shake things up. It could even shift the Super Bowl odds for the team, from +5-0 to +1-400, reflecting a newfound confidence and a belief that Washington is ready to contend seriously. Johnson's addition might be the X factor that elevates the Commanders from a decent team to a legit Super Bowl contender, especially if he helps boost their playoff chances from around 20% to nearly 45%. Looking at the historical context, the Commanders have always been a franchise with a rich playoff tradition and a passionate fan base craving a return to glory. Over the past few seasons, they've struggled at times, especially on defense, but with smart moves like this, they could turn things around quickly. The team's current record of 3-7 shows they have room for improvement, but with the right additions, they could be peaking at the right time. The secondary, which has been a mix of promising young players and inconsistent veterans, needs that spark, that guy who can lock down the best receivers in the league, and Johnson fits that mold perfectly. This potential trade also aligns with the overall philosophy of the Commanders' front office, building through smart, strategic moves that maximize their roster's talent without sacrificing future flexibility. They've shown a willingness to be aggressive this season, and acquiring Johnson could be the kind of move that shifts the momentum in their favor for the rest of the year. It's about establishing a defensive identity, one that opponents fear when they come to FedEx Field. Imagine a defense where Johnson shadows the opponent's top receiver, forcing them into frustration and mistakes, while the pass rush gets more comfortable knowing they have a shutdown corner behind them. That's the kind of defense that wins playoff games and makes a run deep into the postseason. And let's not forget the psychological impact. Adding a player of Johnson's caliber would send a message to the rest of the league. Washington is serious about contending. It's a statement move, one that signals the team's ambition. This could also energize the locker room, inspire the young players, and boost the confidence of the entire squad. The fans would love to see this kind of bold move, especially after a tough season so far. It's not just about making a splash, it's about making a statement that Washington is back in the fight, ready to challenge the division and make some noise in the playoffs. Of course, there are always questions. Can Washington afford the cap hit? Will Johnson seamlessly fit into their defensive schemes? How will the Bears use the cap space and draft picks? Those are questions for the front office, but the potential upside is undeniable. A player like Johnson could become the cornerstone of Washington's defense, a true game-changer who transforms the entire unit into a formidable force. It's not just about plugging a hole, it's about elevating the whole defense to a new level. In the end, whether this trade materializes or not, it highlights how aggressive and strategic the Commanders are willing to be this season. They're not just sitting back and hoping for the best. They're actively looking for ways to improve and compete at the highest level. The NFC East is a battleground, and every move counts. If acquiring Johnson becomes a reality, it would be one of those moves that fans will be talking about for years, a defining moment that signals the team's true intentions to contend and succeed. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you think Johnson is the perfect fit to help turn this season around? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates and insights, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. The future is bright, and with a move like this, it could be even brighter. Let's keep the passion alive and stay united as we cheer for our team to reach new heights.